site that I haven't been to, but probably a couple of times under some metal detecting here and everything. And I kind of pulled up in the, what I'm assuming is the driveway part of it. Over here next to a house, there's like a bench. Well, I guess the bench is facing toward their yard. But anyway, there's a cemetery out here we're going to show you around. I'm going to show you around rather. And I don't think I've ever been up this part. I've been to the lower part of the next to the road. It's called New Zion Cemetery, which New Zion is, of course, a really famous name, you know. So, talking about Jerusalem and stuff like that. And so anyway, we'll take a look around here, look at the old graves, and maybe spook up some people, neighbors, accidentally. Don't mean to, you know. But we'll see. So let's take a look. The first grave we get to, Helen Simpson, 1989. You can see grave sunk in a bit. And Josie Marr, Pam Wiley, 35. Roy Wiley, 54. These stones have been hit with a lawnmower. Some of them are sunk in. Martin Smith, somebody has messed them up really bad coming around here and sort of tore them up a bit. And so they didn't really have enough strength to really set them back on their bases. So they left them where they were. Annie Jewel Jones, 1993. Paul Smith, 64. Carl Jones, 82. You got some older ones down here. There's like a driveway through here. Yeah, there. This is a veteran, U.S. Army. Erwin, Kentucky, U.S. Army, World War II. Tennessee, Private, World War I. Taylor, let's see where the grave sunk in. That's the old one. Something over Taylor, can't see where the description says. This is 1986, one of those brass things. Like Old Dead Cemetery. I never actually been to this part. Like I said, I've been down to the lower part. I guess that's the newer part of the cemetery. And that flag needs to be changed something bad. There's another flagpole. I never noticed this one before. But there's a flagpole right down there. I always thought about getting one. I keep forgetting. But money's tight right now. There's that flagpole down there. And you can see there's a view of a house on the hill that's right above where my mom lives. The flagpole there, and the flag needs to be changed out on that one. It's really bad. Yeah, same thing happened here. Somebody knocked the darn stones off the base. This is Lily Joe Dewar. Probably somebody's ashes. And right beside it here is a big old radio antenna or something. 1966. Check out this page over here. There's somebody buried here. Just ain't got nothing marking it. Somebody's buried here. Somebody's definitely buried there. Just haven't been put back over. The grave is really sunk in here. Ooh. There's a grave here and a grave there. Some of these graves are unmarked. Can't really see has no identification as to who's buried there. Let's see what this one says. This is tilting. How it's holding on, I don't know. Let's see here. Let's say 20, I think it's 1929 on that one. That might be the oldest grave I have. Alberta, B-O-Y. I don't know. Alberta Joy, something other. Let's see what it says. Somebody come out here with a brush and scrape it down, but it end up making it fall, I think. Armstrong, 2015s. People have been buried since I moved here. Robert Moss. Using my shadow to see it. This is the old one. Dyer. That's probably what that one says over there. That one probably says Dyer. That one right there, deleting one. Just got a lot of moss on it. That says Dyer. somebody tried to mark it in 1926, I believe that one says. They built that several years ago. I can see that from my house. So if I'm looking at that, I go straight this way. Straight back that way is my house. Orville Williams. See what else I can find here. Big old early pine tree. First time I've ever seen a pine tree with a fork in it like that. Morris. This is an old one. Been broken off. 1919 mini colic. Somebody's buried here. Bud Russell, 1974. Casket sunk in, or grave sunk in rather. And one here. U.S. Army World War II, 1963. Grave sunk in. Last thing here, James Bembry, Tennessee, 1957, World War I. Oh, I figured there would be one out here. These little land graves telling where a baby had died or something. Isabel, can't really see the name. Isabel Carter, probably. I don't know. Yeah, Carter. So there's a little child that died. Somebody broke the head of it off. Looks like at one point there used to be maybe a road that went around or something in the back there. This person died in 1932. I'm assuming that was the parents of this one. So they could have lived quite a long time when that person died whenever they were younger. 67, Harrison, 58. And the further go out, the younger the graves get. Now this is weird. Crosby. This one seems to be buried all, whoa, shoot, all by themselves. 50s, 1959. That's 1996. McCloskey, 1996. I was doing some metal detecting out here a couple of years ago, and I came across some old mason jar lids, little ceramic or what do you call it? Little white things that go in the inside of them. I found some of those right on the very edge of the woods there. So it seemed like one time they had some kind of thing going on. Steel arm Dickie. Somebody broke it off though. Steel arm Dickie. Negro Baseball League. How about that? I think there's some black people buried here too. Not that it really matters. Steel arm Dickie. There's another tombstone. Broke off. I didn't see what year. Oh, he died in 1923. Steel arm Dickie did. So yeah, way down there. That flag really needs to be changed out. Sure enough. I forgot it had two flagpoles here. Another tombstone like somebody wrote over the top of it. I have no idea. Can't really tell who's there other than a sunken grave. Felt like there was a tree here at one time. Maybe. There's a footstone right there. Footstone. So it might have been that was over here. Oh, mosquito. Got another lamb grave over here, baby grave. What is it with people breaking the tops off these things? I don't know. Let's go around here. (1832) Curtis R. Green, 1932 to 43. So he was like 11, 12 years old. The little heads broke off. And here's some other ones around here that are kind of oldish. Like those over there, they're kind of old mixed with something that's a little bit newish. And over there, way in the distance, look like a lamb. Well, I don't know, it looks like a rock on top of it. All this is in New Zion here. It looks like there's, coming out from the tree there's like a little bit of a dip. It's like a dip that goes through here, but you got this grave right in the middle of it. See, there's a bunch of tombstones here that nobody would probably even know what goes where. 1954, this one's died. 1923, where does it go? One underneath it, where does it go? You know? I think this might be one too. Oh, it's just dirt. some people come out here and cut the grass and knock it down. They just don't put them back up. Other people come out here and destroy it. And it's just sad. It's not that it affects the interior any, but it's just disrespectful for those who try to remember the ancestors and stuff, and that's what I think. It's really disrespectful. I mean, it don't do anything to them. It just doesn't. It affects those who are living, not to those who are dead. Stovall. And that's what gets so freaking ridiculous. People doing that stuff. But then again, too, I think if you're going to, mow a cemetery, you might as well just go ahead and, if you're not down a tombstone, try your best to put it back up, It's like I said, it's for the living. It's not for those who are passed on. And some people who, like some of these graves, they've been here for so long, nobody knows who the heck they are. But still at the same time, too, somebody might have told somebody about somebody being buried in a cemetery and nobody really knows who they are, but hell, they would like to go, see that cemetery or that grave of the one they're talking about from way back when, way before that time. Now here's a weird, really weird name. Creepy. Cedric Brown. About 10 years ago almost. A little over 9 years ago. I ain't never seen one like that before. You think cemeteries are creepy. Somebody named Creepy being buried in one? That's even creepier. 1945. Here's an old one. Bill Dawes. 1859 and 1929. That's one of the older graves I've seen out here. You can see the footstones of the Dawes. Might be related to Cherokees, I don't know. I think some people with the last name of Dawes are related to Cherokees. So these are black people. But like I said, that doesn't matter. Whether black or white, it doesn't matter. So somebody's buried here. Standing on a grave, which, this is interesting. Black, polished marble. I guess it's marble. Lorenzo Brown, 2020. Could have been one of those COVID patients. More Wileys. What are you looking at? Why don't you get out here and fix some of these tombstones? You're going to stare so hard. Must be the beloved father and papa. I don't know if this one right here is a mother. Sylvia Brown, 2021. I don't know. This might be a sister. I don't know. Mom, daddy. (2006), 2012, 2015. Yeah, right here it is, the sunken part. So I'm assuming the sunken area is where that one goes. There's Mom, or MCM. Yeah, it could be. And that one says Dad. Nope, it says WMD. You know what it stands for. Temporary dyslexia there. This one too is sunk in. Or two. McDermott. This one looks pretty recent. I didn't really do such a good job of burying it. Teresa Smith. I think I'd just take my chances. Sorry, miss. I think I'd just take my chances and being cremated, because that's what's going to happen to the body anyway. It's going to break down and turn to dust. Because it just seems to me that buying a casket and everything, coffin to put my body into, with the thing is going to rust anyway. It just don't make sense. It's going to break, fall apart in the ground. Why add more to? You got to buy something just for it to. That just don't make sense to me. Just buying something for it to tear up and disintegrate in the ground, it just don't make sense to me. I'd rather be buried in a what am I trying to say? I'd rather just be rapidly oxidized, that is, say, disintegrated or whatever. They got some kind of thing, they got a water cremation, whatever you call it. I forget what they call that thing. But anyway, it's where you're put in this tank, your body's put in a tank, and it gets disintegrated. And so, it's like taking a little water cutter thing, but it's for your whole body. And so I'd rather go out like that than to have my son or anybody in my family have to worry about a darn casket just to go back into the ground. You buy it just for it to go back in the ground. Perpetually preserved forever in the ground. Bull crap. That's how they make the darn killing, man. Speaking of which, that's how they make the killing. And you see out here, there's not a whole lot of graves. Right in through there's not a whole lot of graves. But when you get down here to the bottom, there's a little bit more. And I was digging around here somewhere or another, probably across from those trees. Came across some 30-30 shells, and I can't remember whether they were blanks or what, but they look like the full load ones, And then that's where I found the mason jars too. So here's a grave here. No stone, no nothing to indicate who's buried there. This is one of the poorest looking cemeteries I've ever seen in my life. You know what I thought that was? And it is too. It's a bone. Y'all look at that. I don't know what kind of bone that is, but it's a bone. Oh my gosh. Let's see what kind of bone that is. I don't know what kind of bone it is, but it looks like, it don't look like a natural bone, y'all. That is creepy. That is something else. It looks like there was something screwed into it. It looked like it might be a part of a thigh bone. I don't know. That's really weird. Something kind of got dug up. That is creepy. I don't know. That looked like it might have been part of that might be an animal bone or something, I'm not sure, but it just looks really creepy. You know what I mean? Especially in the cemetery. Ugh. I don't think it's a person's bone or a child's bone, but it kind of looked that way. Let's see the tree out here. How many minutes have we been doing this? 25. Oh, cedar tree. That thing got some stories. See where they put some of the dirt at. They don't use. Seems like there's like more graves out here, because you mean see where this right here is? It's kind of sunk in, but there's no marker to it. I mean, the only really way you can find any graves out here without stones on them is probably using that, what do you call that, GPR thing. It's like right here, I can kind of see it with my eyes. There's like a sunk in part here, a filled in part, and another sunk in part over there. That lines up with that grave right there. But there's no tombstone. So the memory of some of these people is totally wiped out, other than what you find in the death records or whatever, or what somebody else might have recorded of it. But the grave is nowhere to be seen because it's deteriorated. It gets hit by lawnmowers. Nobody stands them back up. People come in and vandalize them. Very disrespectful. I mean, I'm not saying you should honor the dead in such a way, but their memory, and for others for local researchers and stuff like that, and for those who've lived on, and grandchildren, great-grandchildren, great-great-great-grandchildren who want to know more about the history, should leave the markers alone and let them know, hey, this is where a person's been buried at. This is where the body's resting until the Lord comes back. World War, I think it was a war veteran, I don't know. Yeah, it is a veteran, but the house has been recently built over there. There was a tree over here, they cut it down. You go, see the tree, I used to park over here once in a while. So, through all this thrashing of the ground, there ain't no telling if there might have been other gravestones that have been covered up. They just ain't got to clearing it all down, leveling it up, because it's not a city maintained, I guess. But there might have been one here. Yeah, as a matter of fact, there was a marker right there. And right here in 1956, tree fell down. They cut it up, took it off. They just didn't put the stump back down to level the ground out. Whoa, this is weird. What the world? Chaz. Looks like somebody made one. This is odd. Can't really see the dates on there. I ain't even gonna try. And there's a little sinking spot right here, so somebody else might be buried here too. John Melton, 1941. William Melton, 1909. That's a white quartz. 1958. Henry Malcolm Harris, Tennessee. Tech 4. U.S. Army, World War II. 61. Another spot here where somebody letting them might have been buried. No marker. I don't know if this one goes here. I don't know if it goes there, but there's a spot right there. There's one right here. There's a long one. Sweating. It's just really disrespectful. Look at that one way over there. Really disrespectful. Can't believe people do that. Well, I mean, I don't understand what is the thrill of pushing the tombstone over. You know, and the Bible talks about building stones for a witness, and I guess that would be the same for people who died. You know, the stones are for a witness that that person lived. But some people just don't care. You know, that's what it called Gilead, witnessing stones. Looks like there was something here a long time ago. A tree grew out of it. Oh, maybe not. Maybe so. Or maybe it was holding that thing up. It hadn't been there that long, I don't think. And more spots over here. The ground been prepped. Oh yeah, that's just some tombstone that's been knocked down. No telling where it is. It's like a World War II or III Vietnam era soldier. No telling where the actual headstone is. It's gone. Nobody knows who's buried there. These people just recently moved over here a couple of years ago, built a house. Grave right there. Nobody knows who's there. Probably one or two over here. Nobody knows. One right there. Sad. The Lord knows who's there. Nobody else don't know. Walking right over graves. Or they just could be depressions. I don't know. But you see this here kind of slumps up, then it goes back. Then that slumps up and goes back. It's like tears. It's like comes down in tears. Little platform type of things. Now these are some of the nicer graves. I think we were over here earlier. But still, time will tell what the ground does to it. Somebody else here. Look at that Celtic cross. That's pretty cool. Celtic. Somebody's buried here. The grave sunk in. Like a dip. Oh, what a nice beach. So sunk in part here. And there's a grave here that says wife. Probably goes with that. Bench. Cool. Fleur de lis. Get a nice view here. Anybody in there? Get on my finger. Here, get my finger. That must be nice. Yeah, they live right above my mom there. My mom lives on the other side of that hill. Nice flags. I like these big old, bigger flags. Nice. But that one over there needs another flag on it. The flagpole does. So does the one behind me here. That one needs another flag. Okay. all the time. A big old oak tree. Nineteen 76, 1964, 50, 1960. Another marker here. Just a little bottom of the bottle. A blank footstone, I guess. I guess they were going to put some initials on it, but they never got around to it. Now this is the part we haven't been to yet. This is a stone here, but no marker. Nothing to show who the person was. Same thing here. Nothing to show who it was. And that could break, how loose that is. That could break down at any time. More stones. This one has 3 cuts in it. So, I mean, you kind of wonder, why did they have like 3 little notches in it like that, you know? Looks like a sapling's coming up. I think you kind of missed some of these. Another one over here. What in the world? Oh wow, this was made with, now this is interesting. This was made with glass pieces and shards and something probably somebody found and just put it into a mold and added something else, but it's really loose. I don't want to bother it so much more. If there's any stones in here. Nope. What's this? Looks like a round, oh, this piece of foam. Fake rock, just a foam fake rock. JCM, father and mother. But anyway, now you look at the ground. So like 1, 2, 3, like 3 graves might be there. And beside this one, very unique grave. And so there's a little bit of stuff screwed up. 1, 2, 3. I don't know, maybe there is somebody there, maybe there's not. Maybe the grave, well, actually the graves line up that way. You can tell where the graves are, right there, right there, right there, right there. A lot of these American flags that are put out here. Lawnmowers run over them, cut them up. Don't even bother to get off of them, off their lawnmowers and pick them up and be respectful. You know, that's sad. Broken down tombstones. So nobody can actually remember who's who, what they did, and their station in life. Look at this one, made in USA. I bet you this one belongs to this piece over here. You don't get very many of them that say made in USA, do you? That might have been an old one. So, don't know who it goes to, where it went to. Let's see here. That. Don't know if that belongs to that. The field is missing. pretty cool if they make flags that were tear-proof or tear-resistant, especially a lawnmower head. Might be able to find the other part of it right here somewhere or another. If I had some tape, I'd tape it back together. See these fake flowers. They seem to avoid all kind of destruction, but the flags, not so much. Ooh, there's a nice cool breeze. This is weird. Got some kind of hole in it. That one over. Oh, mosquito. Old brick. But anyway, it's just really sad to see that some of these tombstones have really been neglected. You know, pushed down, either because of the ground is unsettled or whatever, and they just leave them there. So nobody actually knows who's buried there anymore. Some of them have been so disintegrated that they can't see nothing on them. It's really a cemetery that could use a lot of work, a lot of love and care, TLC. Somebody had the time to do it, and probably the money to do it. You know, but at least it's cut, you know, at least most of it's cut down. Just nobody's taking care of the tombstones, and so those who are buried here, nobody I know who's buried here or anything, you know, searching records and stuff like that, and can't trace down the grave. Trace down a record but not the grave. You know, so that's sad. You'd like to know, you know, that your great-great-great-grandfather was buried here 20 years from now or something like that, but you can't because the tombstone's gone, disintegrated, falling apart, or there's no proper marker left. The grave is there, but the tombstone isn't, you know, showing that the person was once there, a witnessing stone, so to speak. Well, let's get on in the truck. Interesting little walk through there, I think. Yeah, so thinking we go to the house now, take me a bit of a shower. Nice little sweat going on. Always helps to sweat just a little bit. And I got the dog barking. You can shut the heck up. A very interesting cemetery, and not as well kept as it should be. Not like Green Hill Cemetery. That one's kept up a whole lot better than this one is. And I guess there might be more cemeteries around here in Etowah, but I'm not sure. Well, I guess they are, but I'm not quite sure which ones. I don't really know of this one in Green Hill. That could be another one. Just can't remember off the top of my head. But anyway, I hope y'all enjoyed that. And 44 minutes ain't bad at all. So I'm gonna go home and take me a shower. And I did the one on the pool, the old swimming hole in Etowah here. If I had this kind of technology when I lived in South Carolina, that would be great. But I didn't. Oh well. I could have been making a lot more videos. And sometimes I just want to get back over there and film some things and everything, but you know, getting back is kind of hard to do. Alright y'all, well, again, I hope you enjoyed the video. This is New Zion Cemetery in Etowah, Tennessee. And it's located off of Old Federal Road. I think that's the name of it. And yeah, it's not far from Brookhill Baptist Church. Well, I hope y'all have a good one. I hope you enjoyed it. And I'm just kind of talking out until it gets 45 minutes in. There we go, 45 minutes. Alright, well, y'all have a good one. We'll see you later.